Today in the studio we received the iFi Gobar Kensei. iFi has been a prominent player in the DAC realm for quite some time now and is really rather well known among the individuals who are new to headphones with their offerings such as the Zen DAC line, which is very often recommended as an entry-level pairing. Today we are examining a brand new product from them, the iFi Gobar Kensei. The name Kensei means sword saint in Japanese, and iFi chose this name for two reasons. Firstly, the chassis is crafted from Japanese stainless steel, which I assume to be similar to the material used in Japanese swords. Secondly, this is one of the most powerful amps in its size class. Let's get on with it and kick things off with an unboxing. I need to point this out because this is a super critical detail. The Kensei is high-res audio certified, so certified that their sticker here is enormous. The front of the box just showed the dongle itself, and flipping to the side you get to see a whole bunch of features including K2 HD, MQA, high-res audio, XBass, and the whole lot. Removing the box, you have another box, this time round made from bamboo, which isn't all too commonly seen in the audio world. The box features beautiful wave patterns on the front of it. I really like the design of the box. Also, just to open the box, you just have to slide the cover open and you'll be greeted by the Kensei itself. More on that later. They have included a quick start guide, which I think is super important as it will let you know how to access some of the interesting modes available on the Kensei. Lastly, you get a leather case for the Kensei, and inside the leather case are two cables, a C to C and a Lightning to C with a C to A converter as well. Packaging wise, it is impressive, certainly leaving an impression. The use of the bamboo box certainly sets itself apart from other manufacturers in the marketplace. Next, build quality. There is something very interesting about the iFi Gobar Kensei. I'm not sure if the name is a pun, but it does look like a bar of metal. The previous iteration, the iFi Gobar Gold, was quite funny as it was literally a gold bar. I really dig the simple yet solid design of the Kensei. It is made from Japanese stainless steel as mentioned before, and it does give some good heft and rigidity. It is certainly quite solid feeling. Also adding on to the high-res audio meme, the sticker lends its appearance again on the front of the chassis. The sides feature a function button for you to adjust the different function, filters and modes. The iEMatch switch is also included. At the back, you can see what sample rate you are playing at, as well as which features are engaged. The Kensei features two outputs, a 3.5mm and a 4.4mm balance. The provided C to C and Lightning to C cable are also quite solid feeling. For me, as I'm using the iPhone 13 Pro Max, I really appreciate the inclusion of the Lightning cable. Inside the Kensei is a Cirrus Logic chip, not sure which as it was not mentioned by iFi. It does pack quite a bit of power on the 4.4 output with 477mW at 32 ohms. The 35mm features a very respectable 300mW at 32 ohms. I think it is important to talk about the different features on it as it is effectively where you can tweak all the nitty-gritty. One of the features that is quite interesting to me at least is the K2 HD upscaling. K2 HD is a technology from JVC Kenwood, also known as Victor Studios. So the engineers then noticed that the digital submasters from the original recording can sound a little bit lifeless, and they developed this upscaling technology to extend the high frequency extension. This is done through the restoration of natural harmonics and overtones. In reality, I found that the K2 HD acts like a subtle treble boost, allowing for a light addition to treble frequencies. When I was using Spotify, I noticed that with K2 HD turned on, female vocals sound a tad bit sweeter. Resolution wise, I do feel that this makes lower resolution bitrate tracks sound a hair more detailed, while there is better separation between the music as well. I would recommend having K2 HD on if your main streaming app is Spotify, as the improvement is quite audible. However, if your main streaming app is like say Apple Music where you have Apple lossless, this isn't really necessary. Another feature is XBass. Now this is a feature that was quite heavily marketed on the Zen DAC series. For people who are new to the hobby, these are quite interesting features. I mean, what's not to like with extra bass at the press of a button? The XBass feature on the Kensei is different than what is shown on the Zen deck. It does it more naturally compared to the more affordable Zen deck, which can be a little bloaty sounding, but it is significantly more controlled with the Kensei. I had no qualms using such a feature for days where you just want a bit more booms. XBass, iFi claims this to be a Soundstage booster, but really I found it more likened to be a treble booster that allows for better perception of space. It does add a little more brilliance to the treble. Again, I found it more refined on the Kensei compared to the Zen deck. The last feature, iEMatch, which we have also seen before on other iFi products, does impedance matching with your earphones or headphones for them to perform optimally. I just found that using iEMatch cuts dynamics of your iEMs and headphones, so for me, I turn it off. I don't really use it at all. You also have an array of filter options for you to choose your preferred decay settings that requires some special pressing of buttons. Beyond that, you have PCM up to 32-bit 384 kHz up to 256 DSD, and MQA recording as well. Also, there is a turbo mode. This is also available as well, but essentially what that is just a high gain mode. Sound. Sonically, the iFi Gobar Kensei is a natural, warm sounding dongle with a slight more emphasis on the lower mids to give more body to the overall sound. It set itself apart from other very prominent dongles in the price range by offering a signature that isn't so common here. Resolution on the whole is at a very high level, and you will need a very resolving iEM to take advantage of this. This is quite a few levels higher than the Zen deck series in terms of performance. For this review, I mainly use the Moondrop Dusk, 7Hz Aurora, Dita Audio Project M, and 64 Audio Trio, which I feel will take advantage of this resolution provided by the Kensei. Settings used would be the red filter, K2HD turned off, XBass and XBass turned off as well. I like things pure. Bass on the Kensei is meaty and deep and will provide your iEMs with an excellent bass to work off. I found that it allows for a rather natural presentation with good levels of dynamics. Again, resolution here provided in this region is as expected of its price class, evidently present when I am using the above mentioned iEMs. Bass hits with good levels of control and remains pretty tight throughout. That's what he said. Mid-range. Mid-range is where the Kensei shines. I found that they have a slight thickness in the lower mid section that allows it to be a little bit more unique. Male vocals have a tad bit more body compared to the usual dongles that I use, which are like the Lotu S2 and Luxury&Precision W4. This accentuates male vocals nicely. That complements the earphones that have more of an upper mids emphasis. Female vocals also sound fuller, but not to the point where it is unnatural. Resolution is also of a very high standard and is rather resolving. Instrument separation is stellar, and when paired with an iEM that has good qualities, you will be able to enjoy quite pinpoint staging. Treble extension is again very good. It does not take center stage on the Sonicscape. If you have earphones that already have great extension, the Kensei is able to match it and provide the airiness that many may like. Next up, Soundstage. When it comes to width and height, performance is again excellent and will only be limited by what iEM you pair the Kensei with. Depth and positioning, again the limit of this will be on the iEM, as I found that it has a very nice dark background and excellent dynamics, which makes that performance to be delectable. Positioning wise is also good. For Soundstage, the Kensei builds a strong base for your iEMs to build a strong base on. Really, the limit is mostly determined on what iEMs you throw with it. And next up, some comparisons. So firstly, versus the iBasso DC Elite. Now the iBasso DC Elite is iBasso's premium dongle, which has a rather warm character where mids are kind of thick and lush. I found them quite okay in terms of resolution, but there is quite a bit of warmth which would lend vocals to sound quite thick. I prefer the Kensei as it is a little more natural, leaning warm sounding, where vocals are slightly thick but not overly thick like the DC Elite. Resolution wise, I perceive the Kensei to be similar to the DC Elite. Also, the Kensei sounds more nimble and dynamic by comparison. Next up, versus the Luxury&Precision W4. Now, the W4 is quite magical. It is a dongle that has excellent levels of dynamics with just a slight emphasis on upper mids. I would classify the W4 to be a natural sounding dongle. There is a slight emphasis on the upper mids on the W4, which really sets this apart from the Kensei. Resolution wise, I do feel that the W4 is a little bit more resolving than the Kensei. Also, when it comes to dynamics, the W4 is more dynamic sounding than the Kensei. Yes, the W4 does not have features such as K2 HD, XBass, but really it does not really need that, as it can hold its own even without such tech. For my own use, I prefer the W4 and it is just a little bit more dynamic and musical to me. Finally, let's talk about ratings. Is this a blind buy? Consider, try first, or a dongle that you give your enemies. I think if you're in the market for a high-end dongle, the iFi Gobar Kensei is one that you should strongly consider, as it does many things right with an interesting voicing that isn't so common. Resolution is good and that is paired with good staging. It just does so many things right. But for me, I like the Luxury&Precision W4 better. But if I own the Kensei, it will probably be in the rotation sometimes. And finally, in conclusion, all in all, I think the iFi Gobar Kensei is a solid take on a dongle and offers more features than its competitors, who usually just add like EQ and filters. Sonically, it's quite different from other dongles in its price range, such as the Luxury&Precision W2 and iBasso DC Elite. I would say that it sits in the middle of these two. Build quality is quite sturdy and I will miss this quite a bit when I return it to the good folks at iFi. With that said, this is the end of today's video. Thanks for watching, guys. If you guys are subscribed and have liked this video, you guys are excellent and fabulous people. But if you have not, please be a fabulous person by liking and subscribing. With that said, I hope to see you guys soon.